Today on 3D Outdoors, we're going to be talking about the shack lift by 366 Outdoors, right after this. All right, the shack lift by 366 Outdoors. I don't know if any of you have ever seen these before, but I was totally amazed when I seen a video on a social media platform that showed this particular unit. It's a great idea. In the past, I've always drugged my shack around behind my rig, whether it been the four-wheeler or the side-by-side with a hitch and a clevis and hooked on behind and just dragging it through the snow, dragging it through the mud. Like a couple weeks ago, I would have been dragging it down the road. Chad didn't end up dragging his down the road, which is hard on the shacks, and it just gets it all muddy and covered with stuff. Well, and it wears the bottom of the shack. Well, this shack lift takes care of all of that. It's an amazing unit that you hook up through your hitch system in the back, hook up your electrical to the winch that is included with the unit when you purchase it, and you get a remote for that winch. And once you turn that remote on, flashes a little red light, you can hit the in button and lift that shack up so you're not dragging it across the ground, the gravel, paved road, whatever the case may be. The other really cool thing about this is, say you want to go hopping around a lake. You're not just going to camp on one site. Now, this works great camping on one site too. And you can see I have this shack on here. I have quite a bit of room on the end. I could actually haul something back here. We'll get to that in a minute as well. But you can use multiple size shacks on this. So I could have a lot larger shack if I wanted to and haul this around. I could go to a spot, drop it down, stay in that spot, or if I drill some holes, I check the area, I've caught a few fish, so I'm fishing there a little bit. I have the shack flipped over, set up, whatever, and the rods obviously are extended at that point, but I want to go on to another spot. The fishing is stopped in this spot and I want to move on. Well, you have it down on the ground at that point because you stopped at that spot, you're fishing there, you decided you want to move. All you have to do is lift it back up and move on to your next spot. When you get there, drop it back down again, drill some holes, sit down in your shack, fish, flip it over, and see if anything happens. If you want to move again, do the same thing and move. It is so handy. But you may say, well, that's kind of a uni-tasker. It's a bit of money. I won't say how much. If you're interested, I would advise you to reach out to 366 Outdoors and talk to them and find out the pricing from them. Obviously, the pricing could change from time to time. But this is not just a uni-tasker, in my opinion. And you'd say, well, why is that? Well, we drop this down to the floor here, and we pull the shack out. Now you have basically a liftable basket on the back of the rig. And you'd say, well, you're kind of restricted on weight to maybe what the shack has. Well, they've actually included a bolt system on here. So instead of just sliding it in and pinning it in place the way it is right now, you can run bolts through here for reinforcements. When I picked mine up, the gentleman explained, well, some people have been putting, you know, the back is really rated for about 300 pounds, that's it. Some people have been loading a lot more stuff into their shacks, hauling a lot of weight back there, and it was bending the piece in the back here, so they've included bolts. So if you want to bolt this on solid and more permanent, you can do that and haul more weight. Now, I can't do that. When I pull in my trailer, when I had my trailer custom built for the side-by-side with tracks, I didn't make it long enough to accept this. So every time I get done, I simply pull my pin here. It's like another hitch. Pull that out, lift this up, and I can slide it into the trailer and haul it that way and put it together when I get there. But since they've done that and put those reinforcements in there, In my opinion, that opens up the world to what you do with this. Now out here at the HQ, say I want to go out back and cut some firewood. I'll put a sheet of plywood down on the bottom of this, and I can stack it full of firewood, lift it up, and haul it to where I'm going to store the wood and unload it. If I'm a deer hunter and I'm out archery hunting or rifle hunting, whatever the case may be, and I harvest an animal and I want to go out to the field or in the woods or whatever, and I have permission to drive in the area that I'm going to drive into, instead of trying to drag it up into the back of the side-by-side and say you've dropped a big buck that's a couple hundred pounds and it may not completely fit in there for one, and you got to lift it all the way in there and you're by yourself, you can drop this down to ground level and just put your deer in there, moose, elk, whatever the case may be. If you can get close or get to an area, you can use this as a recovery system to haul other things out. So it's not a uni-tasker. You could actually use this system year-round. If you're camping and you've got a bunch of stuff, you're going to a remote location camping and you take side-by-sides out to where you're going, or four-wheelers or whatever the case may be, and you have this mounted on there, you could put a piece of plywood in the back again and put your tents and water and everything else in there. So this can be used for transportation rather than just a fishing shack item. So it's a shack lift, yes, but it is a true multitasker in my opinion, and I'm going to be using this system year-round. I'll have a quick connect for my electrical in the back there so I can plug it and unplug it, take it on and off the side-by-side, and I'll be able to use this unit year-round for all kinds of different things. So I think the Shack Lift by 366 Outdoors is a great unit and well worth the investment. Again, if you want to check them out, you can look up 366 Outdoors and do a little more research into it and reach out to them if you're interested. This is Dan with 3D Outdoors, reminding you to get into the outdoors and enjoy everything it has to offer. If you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and you can always follow us over at 3d-outdoors.com, which is our website where we put everything together. See you next time.